to start with asking a sort of general question, and that's, if you hear the word diabetes, what do you think? What comes to mind?
Oh, what a problem they have. Because, you know, I've had it about 29 years. And learning to live with that and learning how to eat, take care of it. After I got over this self-denial, that was the big thing, the self-denial, and not understanding it, and made some bad choices. The doctor, he said, you can take pills, or we can put you on medication, or you can start eating, you know, more healthy and watching what you eat. I said, well, just let me have the pills. And I didn't really understand it. And it took me several years before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I've not went to any diabetic classes, you know. Wish that I could have,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't. But I've just sort of learned what I have on my own.
So you've had the disease for 29 years?
29 years.
And you've never had any education?
No, never. And I think that's something that everybody needs in every community, every town. We need more education, because with my sugar, I'm finding out sometimes that people's got it, and like through the family, different people that I have wanted to sugar test it, and I'm like, that's too high. And I thought, well, if they had some we had some education on it, and more testing, maybe more free clinics that they could come in and get tested. I think that would be good. So.
You said at first you had sort of self-denial?
Oh, big time.
Tell me what that was like.
Well, I just didn't believe that I had sugar, and I just kept on eating, and I watched some, but then if I wanted a big piece of cake or a candy or something like that, I would go ahead and get it. And then I would see my sugar got real high, and it was just really hard to control that urge. You know, if I want a piece of candy, I'd go get it and didn't watch it until I started, you know, getting worse with it. It kept getting higher. So
your glucose level kept going up?
Yeah.
So what was there a point that you could look back to and say, this is the day I changed? Or
yeah. At one day, I think my sugar was like 378, and I know, God. And then I had been reading some of it. At first, I didn't read, and I started reading, and then it was telling me, you know, what it can do to your kidneys and your heart, your eyes, and all that. So then I started being more careful and reading more, you know, on what to eat and how to eat.
So when you got diagnosed, you didn't know a whole lot about it, and you got some medicine.
I knew nothing about it. No, there had been no diabetics in my family, except my grandfather, and he died though when my mother was 2. So I'd never been around anybody that was a diabetic. I didn't understand it at all.
And so when you went back for your follow-up doctor visits, did you ask questions? Did you learn more? Or?
Not at first. Not. Later, I got a doctor that really talked to me and told me what I needed to do, and I go in every 3 or 4 months, and he would do the lab works and let me know where I was at. So he worked with me on it. That was a good thing. He worked with me on it and tell me what I need to do and that.
Now, I know a lot of times in rural places that doctors come and go. They don't always stay a long time. Have you had a number of different doctors over the time?
Well, I had mine. I went to Lexington. At first I did up here, then I started going to Lexington. And I've had 2 doctors down there. I left one and one left me. And so, and I really hated to see him go, because he really worked with me on my cholesterol, my sugar, everything, and glucose. He really worked with me on it. And he would always, when I go get my labs, he'd send me a letter out telling me, you know, how it was, and he would just keep up the good work, or you need to work on this more. And so that's about all the education I've had with, you know, kind of reading up on it some.
Now, do you have any concern about diabetes risk for your children?
Yeah, I do. I have a daughter that is a diabetic.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
already.
And she's really overweight. And I do worry. I've talked a lot to her. I think she's kind of like I was, self-denial thing. But lately, I think she's starting to concentrate more and testing more. So hopefully. And then I have a granddaughter that I think is a diabetic, and she will not be tested.
And how old is your granddaughter?
She's 27. And so, and like I say, there are a lot of people she doesn't believe she is. And the people walking around with sugar that they don't know it. Because when I tested her one day, it was so high, I knew that that's not right. So,
You can't convince her to go to the doctor.
and she just won't talk about it.
It sounds like self-denial.
Yeah.
Runs in your family, maybe.
Yeah. Probably does. It probably does.
Yeah.
We was always used to eating the big healthy meals, the farmers, how we cook, and we thought that was healthy eating, and that's the way you should eat. And that's the way my parents cook, comfort food, and we thought that was the way to eat, and it was hard to change that. It's really hard to change that.
Now, do you still do home cooking?
Yeah, I do. I do all my cooking. It's just me now. My husband passed away, and a lot of times I just snack instead of. But I do manage to eat my vegetables, and eat some fruit. But I don't cook like I did. You don't want to cook for yourself.
It's pretty hard, isn't it, just to cook for one person?
Yeah, it really is hard. It doesn't taste good when you cook for yourself.
Yeah. Do you think that there are risk factors in the community for type 2 diabetes?
I definitely do, because a lot of people's eating more and more going out for fast food. The younger generation, that's the big thing, going out and fast food. And I have a little, which I've been talking to my children and my grandchildren. I'm well educating him. He's 4 years old. His mom and dad said, Mamo says, you don't eat this, it's not healthy. And so he said, you gotta hush, tell him this, we can't eat nothing that's not healthy. I'm probably he's supposed to be saying all this stuff on here.
Well, but that's, I think we get concerned about our families. That's why we do that.
Yeah, I think we need more education on it. I think the community does everywhere. Even our schools. I think we should in our schools.
Are you seeing, you've got children and grandchildren now, so are you seeing a difference in the size of children, your children's age versus your grandchildren's age?
Well,
let's say during school age.
I really don't have any grandchildren that's overweight. Even my great-grandchildren, they're, good weight. But then...
No, not just your children, other children.
Yeah. I do see more obese. I do see more obese in the adults, too. I was like, I notice it more now than I used to. But I'm like, there's so much obese now. So much.
So what do you think we can do to make changes?
Well, like I say, not just the schools need to educate. I think the parents does too.
Yeah, and boy, how do you educate the parents?
I don't know. I said, I wish when I first found out that I was a diabetic, we had some classes to go to. It would have helped.
Did you belong to something like PTA or anything like that when you were?
No.
Yeah, and a lot of parents don't, really get involved in the PTA. So the parents are a difficult group of people to really reach in communities, aren't they?
Yeah. I think, especially in Kentucky, that the way their parents cooked and eat, that's what we do. That's the way we do. So it's just teaching them to change their lifestyle of eating and cooking.
Any good ways of how to do that?
No, I'm sure
Oh, I
not.
was hoping you'd have the solution for it.
I sure don't have no solutions. I don't.
Now, I've been trying to think about groups that people belong to. Do you belong to any groups at all? Women's groups or
nothing.
civic group, church group?
I have my church.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And our churches is different. We don't have church in the evenings or anything like that. It's a different religion. It's Baptist, the old-fashioned Baptist. And so, and we cook big time for church. We take all that food out that you're not supposed to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we get churches more involved in thinking about promoting health in the people, in the congregation? We concentrate in our churches on spiritual health, but we kind of neglect this idea of taking care of your physical body or your emotional needs.
Yeah. Well, I think you just have to discuss that with the members, like the members of the church to get something going with that, See if you can get them interested in it. And that would be a start, teaching in the community.
How many people in your church have diabetes?
There's no, I don't. There's several of us that is diabetics. There are a few in the church that is diabetics.
Do you ever discuss it together, or?
We don't really discuss it. No, we don't.
Do people talk about cancer? You hear people talking about cancer?
Well, not really. We more or less discuss who's got it. Who we heard that's got it, and they put them on the prayer list. We have that, and that's just about how we know.
It's interesting that we pray for people who have cancer, but we don't pray for people that have diabetes.
Well, we pray for everybody that's sick.
And you just kind of fit into that, huh?
Yeah, everybody's sick. We pray for them. With anything they have, drugs or any illness or any disaster that they've had in their life or anything like that.
So maybe we need to change our prayer thinking so that we're instead of praying for things after bad things happen, praying for ways to make good things happen, to avoid some of those negatives.
We just pray that it's all in the Lord's hands and He'll take care of it. Yeah, that's kind of the way we are. We just pray that the Lord will take care of it. And trust and have faith. So.
And what's that mean? What does that look like, Just trusting. Does that mean that you can't take action, or does it mean...
No, if you say a prayer, you got to have faith that the Lord will answer that prayer. And it's all about faith. And so we're getting into religion.
Well, it's about, because what we, some people talk about what we think in our mind really kind of does guide what we do with our bodies.
Yeah.
It happens in there's even scriptures that talk about that. Things that are in our mind often turn out to be the actions of what we do. And, and we think about that probably in church from doing good works or, giving, sharing and caring and those things. But it could also mean what I do physically, what I do actively. If I know something is good for me and I don't do it, then, I can't really blame somebody else, maybe.
No, you don't blame somebody else because you can't control your eating. or because you're smoking or because you're drinking. You don't blame somebody else for that.
Yeah.
It's all in your hands, what you do with it.
Yeah, so
our body is the temple of God, and it's up to us to take care of it.
Yeah, so it seems like that the church, and I'm not talking about your church particular, but I'm talking about the church, big idea of church. That how do you change messages in communities? It seems like in rural Appalachian places, there's lots of churches and a lot of people involved in churches. And we try to give health messages out through the doctor's office, but maybe that's not the best way to do it. Maybe we need to find some other way. What do you think? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think you get the message in the doctor's office is really. No, I just don't know. Like I said, I don't know.
Yeah, it's and you're not the only one that doesn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking questions. I'm trying to
Yeah.
find out a little bit from people.
I'm not a good one to ask.
Well, you are a good one to ask because everybody in the community has an opinion and an idea.
Yeah.
And what we are is just a bunch of these ideas and things together.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can latch on to together. We can, pool our ideas so that we can come up with something
Yeah.
that would be useful.
I think you have to start maybe with, like in your community, with maybe having classes, getting some literature out to people. Just getting the literature out to them would mean a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lane got you here today because she what? Called you on the phone?
She called me.
And she convinced you to come.
Well, I didn't understand what I was coming for.
All right, so she tricked you.
I didn't quite understand what I was coming for.
Okay, but you understand now.
I understand, yes.
Okay, and we're just having some conversation.
Yeah.
But how is it that we get people to get involved in things that they're not familiar with? I mean, I think this is sort of a typical thing is that, we get comfortable doing certain things because we know what those are going to be. But then when something unusual happens, we're like, I don't know about that,
Yeah. I think this is something hard about diabetics to educate them on it because you have a lot of people who don't go to church,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get out in the communities to,
Mm-hmm.
At all. Don't mix, so it's kind of hard to get them educated.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you get it from the doctors. When they go to the doctors, if they think that they're diabetics or they need help, send them to educate, to classes to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been good for me when I first found out I was diabetic. If they would have suggested that I could go to a class,
Yeah.
some diabetic classes. Dr. Frederick, I think he used to teach here years ago, one night a week, but I don't know of any classes they have except St. Clair.
Yeah, over in St. Clair. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Uh-huh. But nothing right here in Morgan County.
No, and that's, and to start with educating people, and I think it would have to be started from the doctor's office, that they know that someone is needing to be educated on it. Not saying that you would get them there. I don't know how.
Well, there's lots of challenges, I think, but figuring out how to make things better than what they are, that's what we're really trying to do. Lane's part of the Diabetes Coalition here in Morgan County. Do you know about the coalition? Okay, so
I'm a person that just been home for 5 years. I don't get out much. I just babysit with my grandson and go to church. And I'm really not out much. And
so you're not paying a whole lot of attention to some things going on in the...
No, I don't. I don't. And, as far as anything going on in the community around Morgan County, I don't know about it.
So you're the perfect person for me to ask. How do I get information to you? If you're kind of home like you are, what would I need to do if I want to get you education, or if I want to, assist you to live healthier?
Well, I go back then to, going back to my doctor. That's the, I wouldn't know any other way to get it out to me, But most people, if they get anything through the mail, is probably going to trash it, not read it. And so it would be hard. I wouldn't have a plan.
So something either that came through your doctor, or your doctor visits, or maybe through your church, if the church somehow could provide information to you.
Some of the churches might can, they might can provide. through the schools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you see children in schools, I don't know how you would maybe get the parents to go to the classes to maybe help with, you know, being educated to help their children.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I'm just trying to be thoughtful. I appreciate your ideas, because to understand a community, you have to understand different kinds of people
yeah.
in the community, and we don't all think alike or do
No.
the same things.
No.
So we have to kind of figure out how to reach people who are in different places doing different things.
Yeah, it's kind of like me, you know, I'm a homebody, and a lot of us in the community are. Of course, I don't have no children in school, but I don't know. I think that through the doctor's office or through the schools might be a good way to
Mm-hmm.
reach out and,
Mhm.
and
You have a senior group here in the...
I don't know.
You're not part of it.
Okay. I think they do, but
Mhm.
I don't look for it.
Mhm.
I think
You're
they-
not old enough yet.
Oh no. Oh no. I went up the hill, now I'm going down.